Nobody has watched the second video yet. And it just reached 4 p.m., which you can see at the top of my screen. Before we go into the reactions, the only reason I'm doing reactions is because I want to do something new. Other than horror, Minecraft, and Roblox. Viewers' discretion is advised. This got horror stuff in it. If you do not like horror stuff, I suggest you click off the video now.
TRT clinics won't tell you this, but once you start, your balls shrink forever. When you inject testosterone, your balls shrink, you become needle dependent, and your body forgets how to make testosterone naturally. I met this 45-year-old guy who went from 330 to 742.
I didn't mean to find this. One night, while scrolling through some old Minecraft forums, I stumbled onto something strange. A series of screenshots posted by a long-abandoned Reddit account. 20 screenshots total, all from one player's world. Their survival world seemed pretty normal, but the chat messages were what really caught my attention. At first, they seemed normal, just the players sharing their progress. But the more I looked, the more it felt like I was watching someone slowly unravel. The final message they left behind wasn't just odd, it was terrifying. And they disappeared right after. What happened to this player? Why did they vanish without a trace? I had to find out. The first screenshot appeared fairly normal, just a player named Alvin13 showing off a new Minecraft world he created. Just spawned in, looked like a cool seed, gonna gather some wood and build a small base near the water. Honestly, screenshot number 1 was fairly normal, nothing too out of the ordinary, so I moved right on to screenshot 2. Day 1 hut lol, just need something to survive the night. And much like screenshot 1, this second one was really just basic as well. The player Alvin made a few wooden tools, dug some dirt, and made a small starter base near the water. A similar experience to any other player who have just started a new world. Nothing seemed out of the norm yet. And this pattern would continue up to screenshot 5, starting a mine, collecting some more materials, cave exploring, but that was until I clicked onto screenshot 6. You see, in the previous screenshot, number 5, Alvin is seen crafting a bed to get through the night. So in screenshot 6, he heads back up to his base, but this is when something pretty weird happens. Can't sleep, mobs everywhere, weirdly a lot more than usual, or maybe I'm just rusty. In this screenshot, Alvin is saying that there are too many hostile mobs near him to sleep. And if we look at the bottom of the screen, we can actually see the "too many monsters nearby" message very faintly, proving that what he's saying is correct. But although Alvin is saying it seems like there's a lot more than usual, I actually disagree. Just by looking outside the door, we are able to see that there are only 4 mobs, which when taken in consideration, really isn't that many. And since we don't know what difficulty mode he's playing on, we can't really come to a solid conclusion yet to prove if something actually unnatural is going on, or if it's just an ordinary occurrence in the game.
Wait, we know it's not hardcore, as if we look at his hearts, they don't got the 2 lines, and like hardcore Minecraft does. So basically, it's limited.
So to gather more evidence, I moved right onto screenshot.
To 2 modes. Easy mode and normal mode. Is that amount of mobs? I'd say it's around normal mode, as that is way too many.
7, and surprisingly, things only got weirder. Screenshot 7 starts like any other. It's now morning, and Alvin is currently right outside the entrance of his mine. However, it wasn't until I read the message when things got strange. I thought I heard something down there, not even joking, like footsteps but echoey. Alvin is claiming that
this is how every horror story starts. Oh, my dad want me. Bro, we just had lunch here. Oh, back to
that he hears footsteps coming out of his mine. And at first, this seems pretty odd. What could possibly be making those sounds he hears? But then I realized that the footsteps are most likely just coming from some hostile mob that spawned down there, like a zombie or skeleton. And after taking a closer look, we can actually see that there's no torches lighting up the bottom of it, which almost confirms this theory to be true, due to monsters needing complete darkness in order to spawn in. And after solving that mystery, I moved right on to the 8th screenshot.
Yeah, that's true. It needs to be very dark for them to spawn. Like in Minecraft.
At first, Screenshot 8 looks like nothing too extraordinary is going on. Just a picture of the scenic view of the forest outside of his base.
Real quick, it just reminded me. I am open for a survival Minecraft world. No twist. No tornadoes. No mods. Just me. In a peaceful Minecraft world. Now, real quickly, if I were to do this, I'm gonna get a cherry blossom world mod for fun, since cherry blossom trees are actually my favorite.
However, then I read his message. It might just be in my head, but I feel like I keep seeing stuff like quickly moving every time I turn the camera. I'm probably just tired, lol, I don't know though.
What? Message before you finished. By the way, is the title.
Now,
Oh yeah, go check his channel out. I do not have his allowance to do it, so I'm just gonna say, check out his channel.
unlike all the previous screenshots before this, I really didn't have an immediate explanation for this one. I did want to try pointing out that it could just be some mob he sees wandering around like a sheep or pig. However, the way he is phrasing it makes it seem like this can't be the answer. He says that he keeps seeing stuff quickly move out of frame every time he turns around, which doesn't really fit the description of any normal mob. All of them move relatively slowly. The only solution I can come to is that it's all just in his head and he's probably just paranoid, partially due to the other experiences before this. So looking for more answers, I continued on to screenshot 9.
Wait.
The only solution I can come to is that it's all just...
See in creative mode? Plus, what damaged him? I don't remember him being at that many hearts.
in his head and he's probably just paranoid, partially due to the other experiences before this. So looking for more answers, I continued on to screenshot 9. And this is where things got scary. Did I break this bed and forget? I swear it was right here. I slept last night. Now things are getting really strange.
Okay, what the Sigma? The cinema!
Alvin, now back at his base, has found that his bed has somehow vanished. I began looking back at all his other posts and realized something just as equally bizarre. We never actually see Alvin's bed in any of his screenshots. Could it be that he never actually had one?
That is good. That's so true. The reason why I'm pausing is talking so that you guys can hear it perfectly.
This would explain a lot. Maybe he truly is just tired and is forgetting that he never placed a bed in his base. The closest thing we have to it is seeing him in the process of making one, but we never actually see him craft it, let alone bring it up to his base. So, mystery solved. He never actually had one. He's just misremembering.
3 moms sitting down at the same time. Must document this historic moment.
Right? Well, that's when I took a closer look and realized something terrifying. In screenshot 6, when all the mobs are outside of his base, I remember when he said he couldn't sleep, and by looking just above his hotbar, we see the message, "You may not rest now."
Yeah, I also forgot that since that happened when I was eating lunch.
Are monsters nearby. If you didn't know, the only way that this message appears is to try sleeping while there are too many mobs nearby, meaning that he must have had a bed. After realizing this, I literally got chills. And things only get even scarier in the next post, screenshot 10, when he says that he even asked his little brother if he went on his computer and messes his world, and his brother said that it wasn't him. But who knows, maybe Alvin could have broken it off camera, and just doesn't remember. I mean, that's really the only explanation I can think of. So not knowing where else to go from here, I clicked onto the following post, screenshot 11, and this was just odd. After the whole broken bed situation, Alvin decided to go mining to clear his mind. But while exploring in a cave, he noticed something peculiar.
Okay, real quickly, with that weird thing that whatever he put on, It made it look so dang realistic.
This was strip mining. It's not a cave. It looks like someone tunneled here. Maybe it's Herobrine. JK LOL. I think it's probably just world corruption or something.
You know, it could be world corruption, or it could be that this guy was in the mood for horror mods, but forgot entirely that he installed horror mods, and the mysterious last message before he vanished, he probably just forgot his password, dude. Like, is it really scary?
There appears to be weird tunnels, which look like long, narrow hallways.
Real quickly, say in chat, yes, if you agree with this theory.
Alvin jokes around saying it could be Herobrine, a Minecraft myth which is known to leave weird anomalies in your world similar to this, but then he follows it up by saying it's most likely just world corruption. However, to put it plainly, world corruption just doesn't do this. Now, although world corruption can destroy massive chunks out of your world, it never leaves weird long tunnels as seen in the picture.
Okay, world corruption from these photos? They're the first actual time I have ever seen a world corruption, which is really cool.
Tunnels, oddly enough, look man-made. And despite spending hours trying to think of a possible reason for this, I just couldn't. I honestly even began thinking maybe it actually was his little brother just playing a lighthearted prank on him. And after looking at the next screenshot in the series, this theory does have some possible validity to it. In screenshot 12, Alvin is now out of the cave and was exploring his world when he came across a long trail of torches. Don't remember placing...
Okay, what? And second of all, why torches specifically? Why not fire?
These torches. They go on for like 200 blocks. I followed them and they just stop. Maybe all of this truly...
Ain't it quite obvious? There's water. Well, unless it's stopping from the downside of the pause button. But who really believes that? Wait, again, who damaged him? Let's just assume that he didn't get actually hurt. And this is either full damage or from a mob.
Was just Alvin's little brother. I mean, that really seems like the only plausible reason for all of this. The bed disappearing, the weird tunnels, and now these torches? I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense. So thinking that we finally put an end to this mystery, I continued to the next post just to make sure. And... I had a name tag here, definitely didn't use it. I swear I remember it was right there. Unless I'm going crazy.
Dang. Bro needs to go to a fix. If he can't remember stuff, if this is just a case of short-term memory loss, he could have thrown it into the ocean, dude. He literally lives right beside it. I mean, don't throw trash into the ocean in real life, but throw trash into the ocean in Minecraft. The mobs don't care.
If this all just is his little brother, everything honestly does check out. His brother probably went onto his computer and messed with a bunch of things in his world, either to just troll him or trying to freak his brother out. And if it's the latter, then his little brother is obviously succeeding at this point. Alvin has become increasingly more worried and paranoid with every so-called oddity that he experiences. So for further verification, I went on to the next screenshot, number 14. And it's just Alvin outside staring at the moon, saying he's going to wait until morning to start making some more progress, jokingly saying it would be easier with a bed. And to put it frankly, this was the last screenshot before things quickly became straight up terrifying.
Guys, let's analyze the data that we so far have collected from this video. Maybe we can figure out something going on. Well, it's quite obviously theory 1 was him with a horror mod and on normal mode. His brother is theory 2. Theory 3 is bro is just insane and has short-term memory loss. Or this guy is an absolute idiot. But looking at the moon, isn't this quite strange? Now, I don't particularly usually look at the moon unless it's like a horror mod, like No Moon.jar. I was gonna actually make a video of that today, but Minecraft broke, so I had to delete it and create a new world. I will be attempting again, trust me. But I don't think the texture is like that. Let's continue on and see. Wait. So quickly observe the surroundings. What's that? Aw. What is that? I don't think they noticed that. Well, we are not fully into the screenshot talking, but what is that? Could be a dead fish, but what would have killed it? Maybe he had a fishing rod? Shook his own. We don't see his inventory. It's funny how Minecraft states that the sunflowers are always pointing to where the sun is, when that's not the right way where the sun is. That's the way to the moon. Something fishy's going on here.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it,
Oh
just by
my
thinking
God.
about it. Meet Base 40.
Something really weird happened last night. This morning I woke up to the sound of my mom screaming and yelling in the kitchen. I immediately jumped out of bed and ran downstairs to see what was wrong. I asked her what happened, and she said that while she was getting something from the garage, she found her car all scratched up on the sides. She then noticed that the side door, which was normally always locked, was left wide open. She said that someone must have broken in, but what's weird is that it looks like nothing from her car or garage was actually stolen. Very strange. And what makes it scarier is the fact that we were upstairs all asleep when they would have broken in. I really have no clue who would do this. We live in a pretty safe neighborhood and stuff like this never happens. She tried checking the front doorbell camera and it said there was movement in front of the door at 2 in the morning, but the camera didn't catch anything besides a raccoon, so who knows?
Okay, what? Either this could be a setup, again. This is basically telling to the theory that this guy forgot his password, and again, has short-term memory loss, and forgot some details. Maybe their car was broken until but the stealer got scared and left.
I honestly didn't know what to think when I first read this. While Alvin and his family were asleep, somebody broke in. But the strangest part about this is that they apparently didn't steal anything. Why would someone break into a house just to not take a thing? Now, his mom did say she found her car all scratched up, but why would someone do this? What could have been their motive? Alvin didn't.
Now, that could just be vandalism, which could still lead them to jail. Or maybe it's just prank. Who really knows? Maybe something fell on the car.
Mentioned he lived in a relatively safe neighborhood, so break-ins like this didn't really happen often, if ever. He also mentioned the fact.
He says often, like it never happens. If somebody often, it obviously means that it does happen. Often means still happens quite frequently, just not enough as frequently.
That their camera actually detected movement in front of the garage door at around 2 in the morning. However, they couldn't see anything besides a raccoon scurrying around, which was probably what set off the camera.
It could be the raccoon. If you didn't know, raccoons actually got some very sharp paws. And nails. Nails, not paws, why did I say that? But they still could deal some damage. Even if not meaning to. Maybe there was food in the car. I just remember the door open. Okay, maybe maybe the mom was stupid, nosed cat who wanted to go sleep in it, so she opened the door, went to bed, and completely forgot about it. Some people don't remember their day after sleeping.
In the first place. But this now leads us into a bigger mystery. Who was this that broke into their house? What would cause someone to do this? And is all this somehow connected to what's going on in Alvin's Minecraft world? Left with more questions than I had answers for, I continued on with Alvin's next post, screenshot 16, and this was bone-chilling. Alvin was still inside his base, just like the last post, but it was a message that caught my attention. Okay, now I'm freaked out. Remember how I said someone broke into our house? Well, it's been a few days, and now we just found something really weird. It was like 1 in the morning. I had just logged off my Minecraft world when I heard a huge crashing coming from what sounded like outside my house. The rest of my family was asleep, and I was debating going downstairs to check. After building up the courage, I quietly went downstairs and looked out the
How everybody gets cooked.
window, but I found nothing. I didn't see a thing. I made sure all the doors were locked before going back upstairs. I tried going back to sleep, but just couldn't. I was just too nervous.
I mean, obviously, there's probably a creepy cop thingy in your house. Like, why would it break the window and not go in? It probably found a hiding spot.
Especially considering what had just happened a few days ago. When the rest of my family woke up in the morning, I asked them if anyone else heard the sound, but they said they were all asleep. I told them what happened, and they all agreed that it was probably just some animal. I really don't think so though. I'm still pretty spooked from this, so I'ma just take it easy for the rest of the day. Probably won't post again until tomorrow. In the middle of the night, while the rest of Alvin's family was asleep, he heard the sound of a huge crash come from outside his house, which in retrospect could have just been a neighbor making some noise, but the
Okay, real quickly, I just want to tell you this. I will be posting quite a lot of videos a day to make up for my not good editing skills. Alright, that's it.
fact that it was this early in the morning, paired with the previous event a few nights before, really makes me think otherwise. After building the courage to check out what the sound was, he didn't find anything. And after locking up all the doors, he went back upstairs to bed, but couldn't shake his nerves enough to fall asleep. After sitting up all night with nothing but his thoughts, he asked his family if they heard anything last night, but they unanimously all said no. He ended off his message by saying he probably wouldn't post again until tomorrow. It's clear that Alvin was now terrified, and for good reason. All the strange things going on in his Minecraft world, coupled with what's now going on in real life. At first, I suspected it was just his little brother messing with him. But now? Could any of this all
At this point, all of my theories are basically gone. So what could do this? Obviously not a horror mod, or, well, he could have a horror mod and again has short-term memory loss. Maybe it's something like the one who watches, but instead of it being the actual one, it was somebody who basically stole the data and hacked it, which made it hack his computer, which basically the hacker started coming tests. That's my only theory now.
be connected in some way? I really had no clue what to think anymore. I felt like I had to find out more, so hesitantly I continued on to his next post, screenshot number 17. And this was where everything began connecting. I was just playing in the world, organizing the loot from my chest, when I went out to get some more food and swear I saw something out of the corner of my eye, like a very dark, almost blacked out figure. It looked like a player.
The man from the fog, I don't remember his name, but he's like a weird guy. He plays a game where you have to go hit his heart multiple times around, like, I'd say like 30 to 50 block radius away from you each time. And he also grabs you.
I really don't know what it could have been. Maybe I'm just still paranoid from all the weird events going on in real life, the break-in.
This basically kind of eliminates my horror mod theory. It says only couple horror mods that basically sound exactly like what he is saying. This is getting really hard for me to come up with theories, dude. Now back to the video.
In the loud sound, but I can swear I actually saw this. Who knows, maybe it was just a glitch though, I don't know. I will update if anything else strange happens. Alvin was just playing in his world, doing some regular old housekeeping when he went out to get some more food and saw a very dark, almost pitch black figure out of the corner of his eye. At first, I was going to say this could have just been an Enderman that he saw outside his house or another mob, especially since we can see the sun is just now starting to rise, but then I remembered something. This isn't the
Is it starting to rise? Or is it starting to set?
first time Alvin has claimed to see a dark figure following him around in his world. Back in Screenshot 8, he described seeing something that kept moving away every time he tried looking at it. I don't think this is just some paranoia anymore. This isn't the first time Alvin has
Hacker friend. I'm sorry, I skipped. That was an accident. Hacker.
claimed to see a dark figure following him around in his world. Back in Screenshot 8, he described seeing something that kept moving away every time he tried looking at it. I don't think this is just some paranoia anymore. There's just way too many things going on, both in the game and real life, that add up. Maybe it's true, maybe somehow.
Wait a second. It could be a mimic mod that's literally mimicking his avatar, since it's black. I didn't mean to say that. If that sounded racist, I mean that his clothes and hair were black. Not by his skin tone and stuff. I'm sorry if that sounded racist to you.
The oddities in the game he keeps experiencing does, in one way or another, correlate with what's going on in real life. With
Okay,
no
when
way
it
to prove
starts
whether or not my
talking-
theory was true, I went on to the next post, Screenshot 18. I really don't think I can handle the stress anymore. This will probably be my last post I make playing this world. I'm gonna go for a walk and go get some lunch. Chances are this is my final post. It's just all these weird things in my world, and then now in real life, I really can't take it anymore. Sorry to everyone who I may have disappointed with ending this series. I'm still not sure, maybe I'll force myself to keep on playing, but probably not. Sorry guys.
Embarrassing story, but I can't pay my rent. My friend told me about how she got this $5,000 loan to pay off her bills, including
Alvin is desperate now for a break from all this weird stuff going on in both Minecraft and his real life. It's sad to see how much stress and anguish this has caused him. He even is considering quitting the game altogether at this point, saying he doesn't know if he can handle the stress of it anymore. We can see just how paranoid he has become, even going as far as barricading the door to his base. He says he will decide if he will continue on playing this world or not after he goes out for some lunch. And for a while, I really thought this would be the last post we'd be seeing from Alvin. After quitting, he'd at least be getting a little peace and quiet from the virtual problems. But to my surprise, he actually managed to somehow continue posting after all of this. Somehow Alvin pulled through, but maybe this wasn't a good thing after all. It's been like 40 minutes since my last post, but while I was heading back to my base, I promise you I heard footsteps in the game that sounded like they were following me. They weren't mine, obviously. I could tell they were what seemed like another player's. I paused the game immediately.
Maybe this guy could talk, but real quickly, maybe this guy just turned down his sound really low. It made it sound like it was far away.
I'm just freaked out right now. I don't know if I can continue to play this world anymore. I don't know if I'm just being paranoid or if it's just in my head or what's happening anymore. I really think there's something else in my world, and I just cannot prove it. It's terrifying me every day. This combined with the weird things going on in my life, I need to take a break from this really. I don't know if I'll build up the courage to continue playing. I will try, but I can't make a promise. We'll keep you guys posted. After thinking about it, he decided he would continue on playing. But just as he came back to his world,
Dude, I would say heck no and never play that world again. Unless I knew that there were horror mods installed. The Broken Script will be getting a new series. I'm sorry if that made you mad. I gotta start creating folders.
Alvin immediately began hearing footsteps again. and this time they sounded like they were following him. After pausing his game immediately, he sat back to think about how he would move on from this. He knew he could quit the world for good at any moment for better mental clarity, but knew that he would be leaving behind many disappointed fans who had been following his post and journey in the game. If he did quit, all of his problems and worries in the game would be gone within an instant. But putting his fans first, he decided ultimately that he would, in fact, continue on playing. And he didn't realize it yet, but this would be...
Just to real quickly know on how hard it is for me to hear, let me real quickly do this. I'll quickly turn it back up.
his worst mistake ever. The 20th screenshot was the last post he ever made to his account, and as I began to read it, I realized just how terrifying Alvin's story truly was. I think it found me in real life.
What? Dude, are you okay?
This was Alvin's final message before abandoning the Reddit account he was making all of these posts on. Just 6 haunting words. I think it found me IRL.
Okay, real quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 7. Since IRL stands for real lot in real life. Wait, no, that equals 8. This guy's calculating is wrong.
What could this mean? Why was this his last message before seemingly vanishing off the internet?
Okay, so I hope anytime that this randomly cuts to like them either theorizing or the video being a couple minutes late and nothing really interesting really happening anymore, I stop it if reasons due to copyright. I do not want to get copyrighted. I have gotten copyrighted, I'd say probably around 3 to 4 times for using something to make all my videos into the one big video. I got back when I kept getting cooked. Real quickly, just gonna tell you, I actually didn't do one of the Lego tutorials on how to build, as it was a really cool Sonic 2 one, just missing his arms. But the reason why is because it was so dang complicating. So I'm gonna just tell you this, that is not gonna be coming out. Never get your hopes up for stuff. Just know that. Unless the creator says that it's coming out, don't believe it's coming out. Because it's not coming out. I'm gonna take a photo of it and you build it. Use your imagination.
Never to be heard from again. I had to find out. And prepare yourself, because this rabbit hole is only just beginning. After reading the final message, I didn't know what to do. For a week straight, I didn't make any progress towards solving this mystery. I just sat there, thinking about the gravity of the situation. Eventually, I decided that it was finally time to start working towards solving this mystery. I began by first looking at Alvin's Reddit account.
Oh, I forgot. On to the next one. This one, I'd say, is pretty scary. So, if that was not spooky enough for you, the last video was probably a scary rating of 3 to 4 out of 10. 0 out of 10, it would be 3 or 4 out of 10 if I had to put it there. Just know that. But you could be pretty scared by that. Give you some nightmares. Me, I'm pretty old. I am not scared of that. That's a literal casual horror Minecraft play right there. Dude, it's been so long and we've only done a 25-minute video. If you're actually wondering what the editing thing I'm using is, look right there in the corner at the rings. I'm sorry that stuff is tilted. It's not my fault. It's the editing software. It didn't tell me that I would do that. I'm sorry. But, hold on. Let me show you what I'm using. I'm using the green phone looking thing. That's what I use. When you go on it, don't mind that. This is what it looks like. I just click the plus button, go to create project, and click on the videos I want. That was just me and my baby sister, which you could easily see on my first video by accident. All the way down here. Don't mind this stuff. This is my dad's stuff. A really long time ago. So yeah. Alright, and now on to our next video, being the spooky one.
When YouTube first launched in 2000,
please go support the original creators of this video on their channel. Their name is Farlikga. I don't know how you're going to be able to type that, but please go support them. Guys, I would not be doing this video without them. Also, please subscribe so I can unlock live, and so that I don't have to do stuff like this. Plus, that would help me reach out to more people and maybe give some stuff to watch. And I'm not saying you have to stay subscribed forever. You can stop it whenever you like. I just need 50 subscribers to unlock the live area. And I currently, let me show you. Wow. Total subscribers, 0. So please subscribe so that I can unlock 50 subscribers so that I can unlock the live.
5, it very obviously was not intended for kids. Not a lot of people know this, but the platform you're watching this video on right now was originally built to be a dating site. Yeah, the idea was that you would upload a video introducing.
This was gonna be a dating site. I don't think people were gonna take a dating site. I'm not gonna lie. But really, who would use this?
Yourself, and then you could watch introduction videos from other users and message them if you liked what you saw. Kind of like those weird dating videotapes from the 80s and 90s.
I'm a nice fellow. I don't know.
I'm particularly attracted to black women and women of different races. So if you like me...
What? Black women and women of different races? Dude, you gotta stay true to your culture. Sounds like predator behaviors right there.
Give me a call.
This idea wasn't very successful. In fact, according to one of YouTube's founders, Javed Karim, nobody was uploading dating introduction videos. But some people were using the site to upload other sorts of content. Dog videos, clips of family vacations. There didn't really need to be any sort of gimmick to make YouTube work. People are just happy to have an easy way to share their home videos with others online. YouTube may have launched as a dating site in February 2005, but by June of that year, they had completely rebranded and revamped the platform to remove all traces of its odd dating site beginnings. Much like other blossoming social media platforms at the time, YouTube's majority demographic for the first few years of its existence were teenagers. This is pretty clear when you look at all the major YouTube stars in the early days of the site, who mostly appear to be high school or college students. I personally started using YouTube in 2007 when I was 11 years old. Back then, the only good way to use the site was to visit it in a browser on a computer, whether it was a laptop or desktop. Tablets didn't exist back then, the modern form of smartphones were still in their most primordial form, and were mostly relegated to a select few tabs as a computer monitor, but YouTube, now you could watch PewDiePie on traditional TV to keep tack on the fact that YouTube and I'm sure a lot of you know consuming educational content. Regardless though, whatever is on TV is generally governed by some sort of code of ethics. Broadcasters all have a reputation to uphold, and no category of television gets quite as there was no code of ethics or enforced morality. The only thing that mattered was whether or not you were getting views. As a result, a culture of shocking kids content emerged on YouTube, which you probably already know as ElsaGate. Sleazy creators would make videos with popular kids characters like Elsa from Frozen, getting into obscene and often graphically violent situations. I probably don't need to tell you much about ElsaGate since you almost certainly know what it was about, but simply put, being a young child on YouTube in the mid-2010s meant being confronted with your favorite characters getting their limbs torn off, being injected with mystery chemicals, getting pregnant, and other bizarre and shocking scenarios.
Okay, what? I was not expecting, no stuff that you shouldn't be fully in depth on until you're older. Sorry if this scarred any of your guys' childhood. Parents, don't come for me.
It was that only served one purpose. Stand out from other creators so your videos get more views and you make.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is horror. It says it's horror, but it's not horror. Literally. First 5 minutes are literally the most sussest stuff I've heard for like 2 months. Alright, on to the longest ones that are gonna really put this into around 2 hours.
If you told me a few years ago that both my fiance and I would be working remote tech jobs, making more money than ever, and living life on our own terms, I wouldn't have believed you. In 2021, I was stuck in a low-paying...
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And if you're new here, welcome. And this video is different than usual. Most of the time, it's icebergs I upload or something along those lines. This one is Reddit stories that are unexplained or unsettling or just scary. Whether you think Reddit stories are cool or not, it's definitely worth it listening to these stories because they are so scary and just worth the listen. So welcome. Sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel. 250,000 subscribers is the channel goal for this year. So yeah, let's get into this first story. I asked the kid I was babysitting, "What do you think lurks out there in the forest?" He responded with, "My mother." I've been babysitting all summer in order to make some extra cash. At first, I just asked around at school if anyone needed a babysitter for their siblings or if they knew anyone who could be interested. I started babysitting kids whose families I knew, but eventually I needed more money, so I put up an ad on Craigslist. It wasn't long until I got a response. The family lived in the suburbs, but what bothered me was how close to the woods their house was, and the fact that they didn't have any neighbors. I got a bit freaked out at first, considering the fact that they were strangers with a cabin in the woods, but I decided to push through the fear for the money. The house was a cozy little cabin, clean, with a nice garden in the back that had a gate, which led to a trail in the woods. They had a little lanterns hung out in the garden and a swing all the way in the back. The living room had a large window that faced directly the forest, and during the day, the room was bathed in sunlight. The kitchen was right next to it, with its counter facing another huge window, surrounded by pots and vines and stupid signs like "Home is where the family is," or "In this house, we say sorry. Upstairs, they only had the 2 bedrooms. The attic was a tiny space whose window faced the woods too. The kid was pretty quiet. Honestly, I neither liked or disliked him. I tried to form some sort of opinion, but he just didn't stand out in any way. He wasn't mean or stubborn, but he wasn't a sweetheart either. He must have been around 5 or 6 years old, so I would just put him to bed quickly and then snoop around the house. I've always been curious about whoever hired me, and I just know it's not exactly recommended, but I would just go through people's stuff whenever I felt bored. It must have been around midnight that night when I slowly pulled out one of the drawers in the maid bedroom. This one had all types of trinkets, coins, notebooks, pins, and buttons. This family liked to collect useless stuff and let it hang around the house, and I liked to explore it. As I was studying this little ceramic statue of a horse, I moved around, noticing the moonlight hit its porcelain from different angles. I debated whether to just take it or not. Would they even notice? My chest tightened and my mouth opened. The horse was no longer bathed in moonlight because this huge shadow had covered it and was dancing on its porcelain. Looking around a bit, I noticed the shadow took up half the room. I could not make out the silhouette or what could have made it. It just seemed so unexpected that fear crept up to me and froze me. Someone was at the window. I knew it could have been a bird. That's the rational explanation, and I could have solved all this doubt by just looking up. But I didn't, because what if it wasn't a bird? I stood still for so long, not knowing what to do, until it passed, and the horse was lit up again by the moonlight. I breathed a sigh of relief and put the horse in my pocket. I didn't know at the time, but that would have been my first contact with it. Something made me...
Real quickly, I just want to tell you this. I'm going to be attempting stop motion. It'll be basically Sonic and Tails versus Metal Sonic and Little Robot. The main star of it will be the Little Robot. And that'll be it till the start.
Stop snooping around and just get downstairs. I turned on the TV and curled up on the couch. At one point during the night, I heard creaking upstairs. I know it shouldn't have freaked me out so bad, but I was still so scared that I went to check it out. The house was dark and quiet, and the 2 bedrooms facing each other were empty. Empty. Where did the kid go? Jason? My voice pierced the silence, and I felt like an intruder, destroying the quiet of...
Okay, what? Where'd bro go?
Night. Jason, where did you go? I kept having the feeling of being watched, so I turned around, fixated on the attic door.
Obviously, if you feel scared, I'm pretty sure, I think a common reaction is you're being watched. Because I actually feel like I'm being watched. Because this story is a bit spookier.
Which was now opened. My instincts kept telling me to just leave, but my head, now spinning, refused. What if we had an intruder? What if he'd taken Jason? If I had just looked up at the window when the shadow passed, now I would know what I was dealing with. If I just had the courage to face it. My voice sounded a lot weaker than the first time, but I still had to try. Jason? Yeah. The response was almost immediate and coming from the attic. Odd. What was he doing up there? I put my foot on the first step of the stairs. What are you doing up here? It's really late. Your parents are going to be home soon. Step after step, I tried to readjust my eyes to the darkness. The attic was really dark compared to the rest of the house, and I could make out a ray of light that traced out this tiny silhouette. Jason, are you here? What are you doing?
Never ever sue the driver who crashed into you after a car accident. There's a better way to get compensated that's faster, easier, and could get you way more money without spending years in court or paying expensive lawyers up front. If you've been in a car accident within the past year...
You're freaking me out. I finally reached him and put my hands on his tiny shoulders, but he didn't respond. He was just staring out the tiny window, into the woods. "What's going on?" I asked. "What are you looking at?" I sat next to him and stared out the window at the woods. There was a portion of grass beginning from the house, pierced by trees. The further you went, the denser the trees are, until you discover you were completely surrounded by the woods. Unable to see the sky from how tight the branches closed around you, the forest commenced from the garden and swallowed the horizon like a dark mass, blending with the sky. The window framed this darkness, this suffocating emptiness. It made me feel as if we'd reached the end of the world.
I'm gonna real quickly go and try to make some terrain for it.
And had we dared to venture into the forest, we'd just fall off the face of the earth. And there stood Jason, just staring. "What are you seeing?" He just...
Real quickly, just want to tell you, this will be a base plate. Nothing really cool, just a base plate.
wouldn't answer, so I decided to find out by myself. Studying the scenery, nothing particular stood out. Of course, I just needed to pay more attention. Yeah, the more you looked, the more movement you saw. Birds, animals, even the wind thrilled the branches and the leaves. The grass swaying gently in the wind. And then the shadows were the next thing you noticed. These forever moving stains on the ground. I could have stared out there for years. Maybe that's why Jason wasn't moving. There's just something about the night that keeps you up. "What do you think lurks out there?" I asked him, playfully. "Where in the woods?" "Yeah, my mom." I blinked a few times. That was unsettling. I mean, kids say weird stuff, but why would he respond to that? Was that a "your mom" joke? Was he trying to be funny? What do you mean? What does lurk mean? Lurk means, well, when you wait or move slowly in the darkness because you don't want to be seen. So like hiding? Yeah, but you're lurking when you also want to do something bad. Just how animals lurk before they attack. Or monsters, I added, trying to scare him. "So what do you think lurks out there in the forest?" "My mother," he responded once again. My body tensed up. That's not funny. I don't want to be funny. Why would you say that? Your mom, that's an old joke, and it stopped being funny a while ago. I'm not joking. Okay, let's go to sleep. Your mother can't be lurking out there. I saw her and she's pretty nice. I don't know what she told you, but she doesn't eat people. She's out with your dad now, and they're gonna come home in a few hours. If they find out you aren't sleeping, I'll get a lot of shit for it. Shit. Don't tell your parents I said that. Come on, let's get down. I'm telling the truth. What? Is she a vampire? You know something was standing out the window earlier. I didn't really care that much about what I was saying because in my head everything had a logical explanation. Jason, however, widened his gaze. Yeah, that could have been her. Stop. I'm serious. And what does she want from us? Does she want to eat me? We were now in his bedroom and I had tucked him into bed. I had my back to the window, facing the hallway, which had now become way creepier than expected. She doesn't want to eat you. That's so great. I taste horrible anyways. Good night. I tried to stand up and leave, but he grabbed me. Wait, don't go. Look at me. What now? I want to tell you about this dream I had. This dream that woke me up, but you have to pay attention. Okay. So, in my dream, I was in a garden and I was thirsty and you were there too. And you tried to leave, but there were a lot of bushes around and you got lost. And I found this puppet. I hate it when people tell me about their dreams, but I sat there listening, facing Jason with my back to the window. Not because his story was interesting, not because I liked being there, because while he held me there, his eyes kept darting to the window. And I'd seen the shadow cover his face. Because he'd insisted I looked at him, but in reality, he didn't want me to turn around. So I listened until he abruptly finished his story when moonlight reached his face again. Thank you for the story. It was really interesting. You're welcome.
You want to change your life today? Make a decision. Focus on where you want to go instead of what you're afraid of. Really create your life on a new level. Whatever stops, whatever's got in the way, it's time to change it. Who's ready for this here? Say aye. Say aye.
There's 50 different things that I wanted, and my coach is incredible.
Night. I spent the next hour in the other bedroom, fidgeting with the little porcelain horse. This kid was a lot braver than I thought. In the silence, I kept trying to make out distinct, unfamiliar sounds, but didn't succeed. The house had fallen asleep, and the night had become uneventful. His parents arrived soon after that. I put the horse in my pocket and went downstairs to greet them. Was he good, Keith? Yeah, the best. Don't worry. I studied both of them, head to toe, their clothes, mannerisms, facial expressions, but mostly the mom. Were you good? Asked the dad, jokingly. I hope so, I responded. They wanted to drive me home, but I insisted on taking my bike. I closed the door behind me, but instead of leaving, I headed to the backyard. I just wanted to see something. Climbing on the fence, I made it on the roof of the porch, right next to the bedroom window, hoping to see some signs of something. Anything. The window was covered in scratches, but nothing gave out what had been there. I stood there for a while. I don't know why. The parents had gone to sleep, and Jason was probably asleep in his room too. I studied the garden from that angle, then the woods, as quiet as a mouse, then the room where the parents were sleeping. After that, I don't remember how I got home. I don't even think I took my bike. I just ran frantically until my legs bled. I didn't even scream. I didn't look around or stop. Just ran until I reached my house and banged on the door. My mother answered, annoyed, and I ran past her, right to my bedroom, covered myself in a blanket, and started typing this. Because while I was watching the parents, something had caught my eye. In the hallway, what I thought to be a coat hanger moved all of a sudden. It had been standing there, so still. I hadn't even bothered to notice it, until it disappeared out of my range, then appeared again. This bony, twisted silhouette dragged itself into the bedroom and stood right next to the mother, who was sleeping. It looked uncanny, like a human who'd starved to death, with wide eyes and arms so long they trailed behind it when it walked out. It just stood there watching the parents, then lifted a bony finger and started counting. I stood there, frozen, watching this horrifying show, forever scarred in my head. It kept counting.
So real quickly, the map got quite a lot of terrain. That's an elevator in which where Sonic and Tails have to get to. But Sonic and the Batmobile is in their way. I'm just kidding. They have to fight the Batnik in the top layer, and then the bottom layer, which I am working on, is here. I'm gonna put Super Sonic in it just to make it a bit more cooler.
And counting, and counting. I was so scared to move that I would have watched it forever. It wasn't until something else happened that made me break into this exhausting run. It saw me. My wife has been peeking at me from around corners and behind furniture. It's gone from weird to terrifying. My wife, Lynn, and I have been together for 6 years and married for 11 months. Our entire history together has been very normal, and never once have I noticed anything weird behavior or red flags. I can't stress enough how out of character this whole thing is for her. Lynn is very kind, intelligent, and thoughtful. She's always been the no-nonsense type of person. Being childish or trying to scare me is not something she'd normally do. She doesn't even like watching horror movies. When we first started dating, she agreed to watch The Shining with me because she knew how much I loved horror. She was so scared that she didn't even make it through half of the movie before we had to turn it off. She isn't into anything creepy and has never been into pranks. It's just not her cup of tea. And that's fine, but that's what's so strange about this. It's just so unlike her. I should also add that she never had any mental health issues, and as far as I'm aware, it does not run in her family. I know some people are able to hide their mental health problems, but in the 6 years we've been together, I think I would have seen some sort of sign. 2 months ago, I was in the kitchen making myself coffee before work. I was running a bit late that morning and knew I wouldn't be able to make it to Dunkin' Donuts for my usual morning fix. I took a sip of my coffee as I hurried down the hall towards the front door, when I happened to notice Lynn peeking at me from around the corner ahead of me. I could only see her eyes and a strand of her long, dark hair hanging against the wall. The rest of her body was concealed behind the corner. I nearly spilled my coffee when I saw her. I did burn the shit out of my lips though. "Geez, Lynn," I said, wiping a few drops of my coffee from my pants. "You scared the shit out of me." She immediately popped out of view like a little kid that had been caught. I heard her scurrying off towards the living room, and by the time I got to the front door, she was out of sight. It was really weird, and just totally out of character for her, like I said. But I also found it kind of funny that she was being more playful.
If you're trading with your own money and hoping for the best, you're missing the most important piece. Look, you've got some wins under your belt. Maybe you're profitable.
And a little less serious. I shouted that I loved her and called her a weirdo. As I shut the door behind me, I heard her laughing. Her behavior was a bit odd, but it certainly wasn't something to call a priest over. I forgot about it by lunch, and by the time I got home, she was her normal self. I didn't bring it up, and neither did she, and life went on. The next incident happened 3 days later. It was around 2 a.m., and I had woken up to get a drink. I was standing at the kitchen island, jug of OJ in my hand, when I felt a strong feeling that I was being watched. For whatever reason, I looked down at the floor and saw my wife's smiling face staring back. She was peeking at me from the other side of the island, staring up at me with her wide, unblinking eyes and grinning like a Cheshire cat. I screamed, I'll admit it, not out of irritation, but fear. For some reason, at that moment, I was scared. At the sound of my scream, Lynn scuttled backwards out of my view, her hands and feet smacking the tile floor as she hurried out of the kitchen on all floors. I didn't run after her or even yell at her. I just stood there frozen in shock, wondering what had possessed her to do that. It took me a little longer than I'd like to admit to go back upstairs, but I eventually did. When I got to our bedroom, Lynn was lying on her side asleep, or at least pretending to be. I stood there for a while, watching her breathing to be sure she was really asleep. I had the feeling she might jump out at me the moment I got into bed, but she didn't. I climbed into bed and she didn't even move. Her breathing was soft and deep, and I was starting to wonder if I'd dreamt the whole thing. The next morning, I waited for her to come down for coffee, and after handing her a mug and kissing her cheek, I decided to ask her about it. "What was that about last night?" I asked, keeping my tone light so I didn't offend or embarrass her. She frowned over her cup of coffee, shaking her head like she had no clue what I was referring to. "You were peeking at me again. From over there," I said, pointing to the spot on the floor by the kitchen island. She followed my gaze, and when she looked back at me, she burst out laughing. She laughed so hard that I couldn't help but join her. "You creep me out sometimes, you know that?" I said. She giggled and set her coffee on the counter and wrapped her arms around my neck. "You creep me out all the time, so I guess we're even," she teased. We said our goodbyes and left for work. As I drove, I kept thinking about how creepy it had been seeing her grinning at me from behind the island like that. The sounds her hands made on the floor as she crawled away. I told myself she was just trying to be silly, just trying to join me in my love of all things. Horror. It's not like I was afraid of her, but it still didn't sit right with me. I started seeing her peeking at me more and more. Sometimes, she'd be peeking out from behind the couch or living room curtains. Once she even managed to get inside her grandmother's old trunk that sits at the foot of our bed. I might not have even known she was there at all had the trunk's old hinges not given her away. She'd had the lid propped up just enough so only half of her face peeked through. She'd been grinning like an excited toddler. It was unnerving. I didn't even know what to say to her. All I could do was stare. When I finally found my voice, I asked her why on earth she was doing this. She didn't answer, but she had slowly closed the lid, shutting herself inside the trunk. I just walked away, feeling disturbed. I didn't understand why she was doing it, but it clearly made her happy. I just hoped she would tire of the game quickly. Lynn didn't peek at me for the next 2 weeks. I started to think she was maybe done with her weird pranks, and I was relieved. We were watching a show on Netflix one night, and I jokingly said that I hadn't seen her peeking at me lately, and that she must have just given up on her spy game. She looked up at me with a small smile and said, "Maybe I've just gotten better at it." I didn't say anything, but I wondered whether or not she was joking. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about what she said. Was she still peeking at me when I wasn't looking, and I just hadn't noticed? And if so, what the hell was she getting out of this? I started to feel paranoid, constantly checking whether she was watching from around the corner or behind a door. I was jumpy whenever I was home and she wasn't in full view of me. I felt stupid and a little crazy. But after a few weeks without another incident, I began to relax a little bit. I stopped checking behind furniture and walls and told myself it was maybe just a bad memory. Then, a few days ago, things got so much worse. Lynn left to go to a friend's, and I lounged on the couch and played a couple games on my laptop. Around 9 p.m. I hopped in the shower, and as I was washing the soap from my hair, I felt that awful feeling that I was being watched. I slowly opened my eyes and almost had a heart attack.
Has Kyrie texted you back?
I don't want to talk about it.
How was the math test?
Don't want to.
Lynn was peeking from behind the shower curtain, her entire head stretched into the shower, leaving just her body outside. Her long, dark hair hung against the curtain, the ends dripping with water. Her mouth hung open in a terrible grin, eyes wide and red, as if she hadn't blinked in a while. I screamed and jumped back against the wall. She didn't move, nor did her smile waver. Her makeup ran down her cheeks in 2 black streaks. She looked giddy and completely deranged. I was terrified. We stood like that for a few moments, neither of us saying a word. Finally, after what felt like forever, she slowly pulled her head back out of the shower, and I watched her blurry figure through the curtain as she moved backwards towards the bathroom door. A second later, the bathroom door slammed shut, hard enough to rattle the mirror. I screamed again and jumped out of the shower to lock the door. I stayed inside the bathroom for over an hour. Maybe I overreacted to some of you, but joke or not, I wasn't going to put up with this crazy shit anymore. That's what I kept telling myself as I paced in my bathroom, stopping to listen at the door every few minutes. Suddenly, I heard a muffled sound, and I pressed my ear against the bathroom door, straining to listen for any sound. I couldn't hear anything, but I envisioned Lynn standing on the other side of the door, giggling at her joke. I felt a surge of anger. I was beyond pissed at being made to feel scared in my own house, and made to hide in the bathroom for an hour? All for what? Some joke? If it was a joke, it was an awful one. "What the fuck, Lynn?" I snapped. "This shit is getting crazy fucking annoying." I waited for her to apologize or to call me a jerk, but instead I heard a faint moan. So quiet, I wondered if I heard it at all, and then complete silence. "Lynn?" I called out, not able to even hide the shakiness in my voice. I got no response, just my own heavy breathing. "I swear to God, just stop it," I yelled, pounding my fist on the door. I waited for her to cuss me out, something I would expect from me talking to her like that. I never screamed at her before, but there was nothing, just the occasional drip from the shower head. I won't deny that I was...
Okay, I'm gonna put this into a part 2, and I'm gonna start working on the stop motion, since it's gonna take so many photos to do that I don't even believe I'll finish it tonight. But here's some spoilers if this comes out before it comes out, which is quite obvious. It's gonna be Sonic and Tails. No, Eggman's next plan to destroy 2 of the Chaos Emeralds. Basically, stopping Sonic Super Farm. Without his Super Farm, he cannot go super. The super area we will be using will be the same area as basically the original, but instead take all the originals things and put them there. So just note this will not be great, as this is my first ever time attempting stop motion. I'll be posting a video on what I planned the super thing to look like. Somehow I luckily managed to find a weird rocket piece that basically I put a 4 square fault on, put a dialing code, more Fent-like looking, but it's a dialing code to stop it. They don't stop it, but they do break it open. It was already opened. Eggman didn't consider. Robot be smarter. And then they will have one final true fight against Metal Sonic. Do not be expecting any cool animatics. This is just a boredom activity that I'm doing. So don't be expecting, this is a masterpiece. As it could be. Oh, this is a garbage piece. Just know that. The reason there's a bridge looking thing is because that is a broken bridge. Anyways, that's it. And see you during stop motion. Real quickly, this is a bit after I stopped it. I will be doing all the sound effects. This is gonna be one of the sound effects. There will be no special effects on the video, and there will be no music other than me doing